And live from the WQAQ studio at Quinnipiac University, you're listening to Infinite Sports Radio on this Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us. Last week, the link was not working, and I always send that out prior to the broadcasts. And, you know, there was a problem with that, and nobody was able to listen to it. So I don't think we really had that big of an audience on last week's show. But we're coming at you again. Well, as of right now, it's just me in the studio because my co-host, Ben Upson, is having some transportation issues with the shuttles here at the university. And that is always a problem with the shuttles. So right now, it's just me, Kenneth Gruenfelder. Hopefully you're all doing well. And, yeah, we got a lot to discuss. He will be here, I want to say, in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So before you know it, he'll be here, and we'll have the whole crew. Well, just me and him as the whole crew. So you won't have to be stuck with me the entire 2 hours, because I know sometimes I'll be doing the show. Well, I haven't done a show by myself in a long time, at least here, at least in the studio. And, you know, sometimes when you listen to me, I sound a little boring. I don't know. But, yeah, we got a lot to talk about on today's show. So we got the NFL season kicked off on Thursday. We had a great game between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. And obviously a full slate of games on Sunday. And then we had the Monday night game as well. And, of course, we'll get into baseball. We'll talk about our team, the Yankees. We'll get into the Mets. Because I know on last week's show, I said we will talk about the Mets, and we just never got to it. And it's a 2-hour show, so you expect to, you know, talk about it, and, you know, there's a lot of time to talk about things, but, you know, those 2 hours, they really do fly by, and honestly, I love doing 2 hours, because 1 hour, you really got to, like, jam everything in. 2 hours, you really got more flexibility as to what you want to talk about, but, yeah, there is a lot to cover today, so I think I'll wait off on talking about the Giants, because I want to wait till my co-host does eventually get here. And he said, you know, because for those of you that do remember, we do that segment Upson Unleashed where he just goes off on something, whether it's in the news or something going on in his life. Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be about the shuttles. And, yeah, it's very aggravating. I'll just touch upon that really quickly. Quick shuttle thing from yesterday. So I get out of class at about not even 4:45 yet. It was like a little bit past 4:30. We got let out a little bit early, and I get to the shuttle stop, and I see one of the bigger shuttles coming, and that one usually takes us directly to the York Hill campus, which whoever is listening, if you don't know what that is, it's a separate campus from the main campus. And I said, wow, perfect timing. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is too good to be true. And lo and behold, the group that I was with, we walk up to the shuttle. Sorry, this one's closed. I'm pretty sure they said closed. The shuttle's closed? Yeah, this person was done for the day or something. Not even 5 o'clock yet. It's not even 5 o'clock yet. And this shuttle is like, nope, I'm done. You know, it's aggravating. And on top of that, I go up to get food later on, and, you know, I'm like, let me get the entree, because, you know, I've been getting like quesadillas and wraps, and I've been eating pizza every other day. So I'm like, all right, let me get the meatloaf here. And I go up to the thing. There's a girl waiting there, and there's nobody there. Like, there's this person next to it, and she's working like the grill. She's, you know, cooking burgies and stuff like that. Burgers. I say burgies a lot, but so the girl's like, is there anyone like working this part of the, you know, the cafeteria or whatever? And she's like, no, you got to go probably get somebody from the back. And it's like, at that point, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, let me just get out of here. I grabbed, you know, some ice cream, an apple juice, and I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to heat up some chicken nuggets that I have in my freezer. I can't do this. I can't deal with this anymore. And I just left at that point. And the other thing is, I mean, I understand you're working that station next to it, the grill station, but you could take 2 seconds and my co-host comes. Jeez. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, now I just lost my train of thought. So okay, now I just remembered. So it's not that hard. You can literally just take time out of what you're doing and just give us, give us some meatloaf, give us some vegetables, all that, and you could go on with the rest of your day. Oh, you can't do that? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's frustrating. Anyways, so now that my co-host is here, do we get into football, or do you want to start Ups and Unleashed, right off the bat? All right, he's a little bit out of breath.
It's been a while, half an hour.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna let him compose himself because he just. I mean, oh my God, what is going on? All right, so let's get into football then. We'll get into the shuttle stuff a little bit later, the Ups and Unleashed stuff.
I'm having a Don LaGreca moment right now. Okay. Just out of breath. And I didn't even rant yet. Oh, that's going to be an electric part of the show.
What did you think? Like the show was going to be a disaster when you got in here? I mean, I know I'm not the best for working the board, but I mean, the show is going to go on, man. You're okay. You didn't have to rush down here. I mean, well,
I know, my friend. It's about the precision. Got to make it on time. But anyways, yes, here we are. I'm here. Hooray!
Yeah, and I think we actually do have an audience for this one. We didn't have anything last week.
That's great.
So do I repeat more of the stuff that I said? We're getting so off topic now. But basically last week I said I did a little COVID rant. Not really going to go that much into it, but stuff needed to be said. And I guess the more important thing is, for people that weren't listening last week, this is the last semester of Infinite Sports Radio, at least for me being in the studio. So we are going to have a great next 4 months, just about. A little bit less than that. And is it going to be emotional? Of course. But it's going to be fun. So we're going to have a good semester. But anyways, so let's get into football. Okay. All right. For the fourth time I'm going to say it. Still haven't even gotten to any sports stuff yet. This is supposed to be a sports show, but, just keep getting off topic with things. But
wait, what were you talking about for the first 5 minutes?
Well, I kind of went off on a tangent about, my experiences with the shuttles so far this semester. And then I talked about how there was nobody in the cafeteria serving food at the place where they serve, like, the main entree for the dinner there. So
you're talking about the meatloaf from the other night,
right? You got to go get somebody from the back. I mean, you can't take 2 seconds. You can't take 2 seconds to just give me meatloaf. I understand you got a lot going on the grill, but it takes 2 seconds. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. But all right, let's get into football. All right, so there was a lot of games to talk about, a lot of games to uncover, and I guess the first game I'll get into is, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this game was very interesting. First of all, the Steelers' offense, what was that? That was terrible, okay? That was horrible. And a lot of people going in to the season, there was a lot of question marks with the Steelers, their offensive line, particularly their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, who is 39 years old now. So there's a lot of question marks. And the Steelers, they got off to a great start last year, 11-0, and then COVID and injuries and all that, that kind of, led to the downfall of their season. So now going into, this game, and they played Buffalo late in the season last year, and going into this game, week 1, relatively healthy. This is the first game of the year. They're relatively healthy. This was going to be a different game. And it was. In the first half, it looked terrible, though. It looked terrible. The Steelers, they could not run the ball. They couldn't throw it. I mean, they were really bad. The reason why they were in this game is because of their defense. And they were lucky that the Bills only scored 10 points, because this game could have been 17-0, 20-0 at the half. And the Steelers' defense really played extremely well in the first half. And I knew going into the second half, the Steelers were going to make adjustments and they were going to play a much better second half. And they did. And they got turnovers. And they ultimately won the game 23-16 after being down 10-0. And listen, does that mean the Steelers are legit? I mean, I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not going to say no, because that defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. But, I mean, let's talk about the Bills. So you have Josh Allen throw 51 times, okay, in that game. And they really did nothing on the ground. They did nothing, okay? And Devin Singletary, because I did a podcast early this morning, Devin Singletary on the field goal, one of the field goal drives, he had 49 yards rushing, and I'm pretty sure he finished the game with, I believe, around 75 yards rushing, I want to say. Looking at it right now. So, yeah, he finished with 72 yards rushing. Okay, so now, if you go back to one of their scoring drives, the Bills, it was one of their field goal drives, which was almost a 4.5 minute drive. Devin Singletary had 49 rush yards on that drive alone. And that's basically his entire day was on that drive. Did absolutely nothing. Okay? The Bills, listen, I think they're going to be a really good team. I really do. I think they're going to be one of the top teams in the AFC once again. But you can't have Josh Allen throwing 51 times and not doing anything on the ground. They have no running game. They are one-dimensional. And if one of my friends who's a huge Bills fan, if he's listening right now, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it again. One-dimensional. One-dimensional. And you can't be one-dimensional. I'm sorry. It's really going to hurt you against these better teams. Because you can't be one-dimensional against the Chiefs. I mean, you could because the defense, the Chiefs really didn't play that good. But they gotta fix that. They gotta fix that problem. But big win for the Steelers. They play the Raiders next week. And, you know, I like their odds to win that game, even though the Raiders did play one heck of a game on Monday. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But, I mean, the Bills, come on. I mean, you gotta figure out that running game. Josh Allen is not going to be your running back for the whole season, okay? You got to establish a running game because you're not going to be able to do anything. So the Bills, they go to Miami, and they usually play well against the Dolphins. So I expect them to win that game and bounce back. So we'll have to wait and see. My co-host, do you have anything to add with anything that was just said?
Well, I'm very impressed with what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. Yeah, sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine. I'm fine now, everybody. You know, after that whole shuttle debacle. I can't wait for Ups and Unleashed right now. So, yeah, a very impressive win for the Pittsburgh Steelers to storm into Buffalo and, you know, get what was probably an unexpected win for some. You know, it knocked a lot of people out of the massive survivor pool that I'm in. 20 of the 111 people were knocked out. 12 of those on the Bills. And the other 8 was like a combination of the Falcons. I think somebody took the Colts. I don't know why you would take the Falcons anyways, but besides that, yeah, very impressed with what the Steelers did. 17 fourth-quarter points. And, Kenny, you just hit the nail right on the head. One-dimensional. That's a big problem with this team, okay? Look, Josh Allen can do a lot, but he can't do everything. And it's going to be impossible for the Bills to win games if they can't get their running game going in any capacity. Okay, and look, I picked this team to go to the Super Bowl, okay, last week on our pre-NFL show. I'm not feeling good about that right now. I'm not. Definitely concerned with where this Bills team's going to go with little to no run game at the moment. Because Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, when he comes back, you know, these are not necessarily reliable running backs that you can turn to on a game-to-game basis and say, hey, go get me 100 yards.
I don't even think Zach Moss played. He does not show up on the stat sheet.
Right. He did not play. He didn't. He was injured.
Yeah.
So, obviously, with these two with Moss missing time and Singletary being a mid-tier running back, if that, not even probably, it's a problem for Buffalo, okay? And, you know, the road doesn't necessarily get easier. Now you have to go into Miami next week. Now, they just got, I guess you could call it a bit of a lucky win against the Patriots because of a late-game fumble by Damian Harris. If Harris doesn't fumble that ball, the Patriots most likely kick a game-winning field goal. But besides the point, Josh Allen didn't do much in the passing category in some ways. 30 of 51 for 270 yards and a touchdown. His rating was just shy of 80. And I'll tell you one thing, the Bills' defense really did do a good job in the first half. They were confusing the Steelers.
I also think it was bad offense, too. There were some throws. It was, I don't know which drive it was. I think it was one of their field goal drives. Ben had Najee wide open to get a first down and possibly a touchdown, and he completely missed him. He overthrew him. You can't have that.
And you've got to be concerned, too, still about this Steelers offensive line.
Yeah, that's the other problem.
That's a big problem.
That is a major problem for this team.
And Najee Harris was pretty invisible in this game. He had 16 carries, but only 45 yards.
I don't know if you saw, but he played 100% of the Steelers snaps on Sunday.
Wow.
They really... That's the difference between Mike Tomlin's teams and some of these other teams like the 49ers and like all these teams that have different running backs that they use. Mike Tomlin picks a running back, sticks with him the entire game. That's the game plan. It's not you run the ball, then you run the ball, you run the ball. It's one guy.
Yep.
It's one guy.
Yeah, and it's going to be a problem for the Steelers in some ways because, you can't use Najee like every single snap, I guess, in some ways. Najee's got better days ahead, of course. The Bills' defense is really solid, and they did a good job, maintaining his capabilities on Sunday. But, yeah, he's got better days ahead. He's got much more favorable matchups. And it really starts with the Raiders' defense next week. I think Najee's going to have a much better day at home, his first home game, against a Vegas defense that, hit or miss, mostly miss. But what did the Steelers do in the locker room at the halftime? I almost said halftime report. I don't know why I said halftime report. I'm still a little... I'm still
that's
waking
all right.
up.
Listen. You know how many bloopers we've had? Who cares?
Goodness,
Who
I
really
know.
cares?
I know. So what did the Steelers do at half? They made adjustments. Okay? Halftime adjustments made the difference for them. This team came out, and they had a pulse in the second half.
Yeah.
And they shut down the Bills. They panicked. A lot of quick drives. And, really, they were
Josh Allen
confusing
had,
them.
2 fumbles in this game?
Yes, that's also true.
Yeah,
it's
set
a
up
problem.
that. I think it set up the touchdown drive to the touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson. One of them was, I think.
Yes.
And let's not forget they also
correct.
had that punt block for a touchdown. That was the difference in the game. Was that?
Oh,
Special
that's
teams.
right. That's right.
That was really the big difference in the game. Was that?
I did forget.
They don't
about
get that. This game's tied, going into overtime, or I don't know. Well, maybe the game plays out differently. I don't know. But
yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, all the hypotheticals.
But I'm impressed with what the Steelers did. Going up to Buffalo, no less, and picking up a massive win. And it's always better to have a win under your belt, right off the bat. And look, there's been a lot of talk this year about, hey, are the Steelers a playoff team? There's been a lot of debate if this team is up for that.
What do you think?
I didn't have them, getting in one of my wild card spots because
I didn't either.
it's going to be Cleveland or Baltimore winning this division. It's going to be, and it should be.
Well, I think after Monday night's game, I think there's some cause for concern about the Ravens.
Well, yes, I was just going to mention.
But we'll get into
that would be a problem. That's going to be a problem.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
But it's not out of the realm of possibility. I still think this team is going to be very close to 500.
Yes,
No,
I
again,
agree
nobody
with that.
can be 500,
Yep.
but Pittsburgh's going to be close, and this is a good start. So they should be impressed with what they did.
Yes, absolutely. You know what? Let's go back to Thursday night. Let's talk about the Thursday night game.
Oh,
Okay. What a way to open up the season. Okay. You got the Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. Now, you look at this matchup. We looked at the matchup prior to this game. We had the show the night before. And I said, I think Dak's going to be really rusty. I mean, I don't really remember what I said, but I'm pretty sure I said Dak was going to be rusty. Offensive line's banged up. Bucs are going to be ready to roll. They're going to stomp the Cowboys. And boy, was I wrong about this game. This game went down to the wire. Dak Prescott played amazing in this game. Amazing. And Tom Brady was great too, of course, but that's nothing unusual. I mean, that's business as usual for him. And he's great. It's like unlike some other quarterbacks that we'll talk about, at some point that, they are great, but they're not as great as him. But some of you probably know who I'm talking about, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But this game was amazing. I mean, you look at the stats in this game. Brady, the winning team, the winning quarterback in this game. Brady, 32 of 50, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns. The 2 interceptions were a little fluky. One of them was Fournette just can't catch a screen pass, and the other one was on a Hail Mary right before the half, which the Cowboys came very close to returning that for a touchdown, which that was really scary. That was scary, but thank God for one of the offensive linemen for the Bucs. They were able to get him to the ground. And then you look on the ground. They really didn't do much on the ground. Fournette had 32 yards rushing. Ronald Jones had 14 yards rushing. He had a fumble in this game, and Fournette was responsible for the interception that Brady had, first interception. And then you look at the stats in the receiving game. Antonio Brown, 5 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown. Chris Godwin, 9 receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown. Gronk, 8 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had a very quiet game, 3 receptions for 24 yards. A little worried about that when it comes to my dynasty team in fantasy. But that's what he is. He's a very streaky wide receiver. He's pretty inconsistent. Then you look on the other side. Dak Prescott, 42 of 58, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Ezekiel Elliott, that was the only thing I really got right about this game, was Ezekiel Elliott was on 11 carries, 33 yards rushing. I said he was not going to do good in this game, and he didn't. Though a lot of people talk about his work in blocking for Dak Prescott, so I guess that counts for something, but not for fantasy or anything like that. That's not going to show up on the stat sheet. Amari Cooper, fantastic game. 13 receptions, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 7 receptions, 104 yards, and a touchdown. And, the other guys to a lesser extent got involved. Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup, Tony Pollard, CJ. Cedric Wilson, CJ Wilson, the pitcher, is not on this team. Blake Jarwin and Ezekiel Elliott. So Michael Gallup's actually going to miss a few games. I don't know the injury off the top of my head. I think it's some kind of leg injury, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean the Cowboys, they played the best they could, and if it wasn't for Greg Zuerlein missing field goals and extra points, Cowboys win this game. And my takeaways from this game. Oh, what were you going to say?
Gallup with a calf injury.
Okay, calf injuries are not good. But yeah, when you look, my takeaways from this game is the Cowboys. Yeah, as a Giants fan, they scare me with how that offensive performance. Now, the one thing is the defense still stinks. Okay, now we'll see how they play this week against the Chargers, which is still which is going to be a really tough game. But if you're a Cowboy fan, you got to love what you saw from your quarterback. Dak Prescott was fantastic in this game, and look at me praising Dak Prescott because for the longest time I really have not been a big Dak, I don't want to say supporter. I don't know. I'm not very high on Dak. Let's say that. I'm happy that he's healthy. I'm happy that he was able to have a great game because, coming back from that horrible ankle injury last year against the Giants, you really wanted him to come out and show that, he's fine. And he was fine because he threw for 400 yards. Now, if I'm the Cowboys, why is he throwing 58 times, though? I mean, especially because you're coming back from an injury like that and you haven't thrown 58 times. That's ridiculous. That should not have happened. Okay, but I mean, it really didn't matter. He was fine, and you know what? Cowboys are going to be a top offense. They are going to be a top offense. That offense is really good, and the Yankees. Quick update. I don't know who just hit that, but Cedric Mullins just robbed him of a home run. Okay, let's continue.
That was Sanchez.
Gary. So I could have got fantasy points out of that. Nice. So, anyways, the Cowboys' offense is really good. Now, you look on the Bucs side of things, the offense for them is very good. The problem was they had a lot of turnovers in this game. They turned the ball over 4 times in this game. A muff punt, or no, not a muff punt, but guy fumbled on the punt return. Mickens, I don't remember how you
Yep, Jaden Mickens.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Mickey. Ronald Jones fumbled. Fournette botched that screen pass, and then Brady threw the pick towards the end of the first half, but that was a Hail Mary. So the Bucs got some things to tidy up, if you will. Defense, they could not apply pressure. That was the other thing. The Dallas offensive line, both offensive lines really in this game, were amazing. And the Dallas offensive line was missing arguably their best lineman in Zach Martin. And I thought, because of that, I'm like, there's no shot that the Cowboys' offensive line is going to hold up against this pass rush. And they did. They did a great job. La'el Collins, Tyron Smith, they played really well. And, of course, I praised the Cowboys. I praised their offensive line. And now La'el Collins is suspended for 5 games for the, I think it's the substance abuse policy. So, of course, I praised them, and that happens. But, offensive line played really well. That was really, I think, the main reason why Dak was amazing was, the protection that he had. And he put the ball where it had to be. And you look at the Bucs side of things, I'll go back to the Bucs side, their secondary really did not play that good. And I was talking about, I thought that this secondary was going to take the next step in, having a much better season than they did in the regular season last year, because they had a great postseason. And I thought, hey, they're going to build off of that, and they're going to be even better. And going up against Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, they did really not play that well. So now they're going up against Calvin Ridley next week, and the Falcons put up a lot of points against the Bucs last year. Now the Bucs won both times, but still a little bit concerning. I think they're going to be good. I think they'll be fine, the Bucs defense next week, because they're going up against a lesser opponent, but still something to be concerned about. When you go up against these better teams, like the Rams, like the 49ers, Seattle, I'm just naming every team in the NFC West, because those are essentially the best teams. And notice how I didn't mention one team, and we're getting there. We're going to get there right after this. That's going to be a problem. So the Bucs got to figure that out. That's really, I think, the biggest issue with this team right now is the secondary. So, but Brady was great, and now you get a full season of Antonio Brown. I mean, this offense is going to be, it's amazing. It really is. Your thoughts on that, Mr. Upson?
Yeah, the Bucs, they're picking up right where they left off last season, and that was with that Super Bowl championship. No less at their home stadium. How fitting. Tom Brady and Dak Prescott were both stellar in this game. 403 with 3 touchdowns for Dak, 379 with 4 touchdowns for Brady. And you got to give a lot of credit to Dak because he came off that horrific injury, as you documented, Kenny, and he did not show any signs of rust at all, really. It was a clean, efficient game. And unfortunately, the Cowboys end up on the wrong side of it for them. Now, part of that problem, of course, is, Greg Zuerlein. He went 3 for 5 in this game with a missed extra point. And there's nothing that confuses me more than as to why the Cowboys decided to send him out for a 60-yard try with 20 seconds left before the half. I mean, what was that? Is that a way to give a kicker's confidence, get his confidence back? Wow, and look at that way.
All
You're
right,
just
speaking of the Cowboys,
yeah.
DeMarcus Lawrence, their defensive end, suffered a broken foot in practice and is out indefinitely.
Gosh.
So again, talking very highly of the Cowboys, and again, something else happens.
Another back blow to this defense.
So now this defense is going to get even worse now.
Oh my Lord.
I don't get it. That's a huge loss for them. So they got to make up for it.
If the Cowboys defense could be just anything better than what they are right now, this is a solid team because their offense is capable of putting up points with Dak Prescott. That's what he showed us in that opening game.
And he did it last year before he got hurt. And
Yeah.
they were losing 49-38 to the Browns. They're lucky Atlanta doesn't know how to recover an onside kick. They should have lost that game, 42-39, whatever that was, or 41-39. And then they got into that shootout with Seattle.
Right.
I mean, this defense is
So bad.
going to be the downfall of this team, which is
goodness.
why, and we'll get into them after we get into the other game that I want to talk about. The Giants have a chance. They still have a chance. So
Absolutely. Can't wait to talk about that. But, just to say, though, Dak really did impress in this game more than what I expected out of him for his first game back. I mean, you kidding me? 403 with 3 touchdowns?
yeah,
And just, one pick. And, really, if it weren't for Zerline missing those kicks, I mean, like I said, you miss a 31-yarder, then you decide, you know what? Let's give him his confidence back. Let's send him out there for a 60-yarder. Yeah, okay. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, I didn't think he was going to make that kick. No way. No way. That's the beauty of Mike McCarthy, though, ladies and gentlemen. He makes some interesting decisions. And not necessarily the smartest either.
no,
But yeah, this was a air raid offense for both teams. I know you've been stressing that with your fantasy team, Kenny.
oh, that's a whole nother story. We don't have to get into that.
Yeah.
we really don't.
No, I know. But really, passing
Also,
attacks
quick
from both
thing.
these teams.
Other than fantasy, dropped my laptop the other day, minutes before we were
yeah.
going to the house to watch football. So yeah, I'm not having the best week.
No.
Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's the little things. They add up, and before you know it, it just collectively they just get you agitated.
The semester of Kenny Kidd continues.
All right, now if my parents are listening, listen. The laptop is fine. It's
course.
working great. It's just the screen there's a lot of cracks all over the screen. Well, at least more specifically on the right side. The left side you can't see anything, but yeah.
I'll tell you what, though.
Yeah,
Mine
they're
looked
probably-
a heck of a lot worse than what yours does.
Yeah, now they're screaming. They're probably screaming. They're like, "What? They dropped it?
Yeah.
What?"
Yeah, I still remember
Yeah.
that
So
whole debacle.
so when I talked to them over the weekend, I will explain what happened because it was stupid.
Well, you better.
It was stupid.
There you go.
But
Good.
sorry, we got off topic again. What were you saying with the?
No, I was
game on
gonna
Thursday?
wrap up with one more thing. Okay.
Okay.
For the last ever since the Patriots won Super Bowl 49 against the Seahawks, after that Malcolm Butler interception, Pete Carroll decided
yes.
not to run with an all-star running back from the one.
Yes, wanted Russell Wilson to be the hero. Yes.
Ever since then, I've kept wondering, well, was that going to be one of the last titles we would see Tom Brady win? Oh, no.
Oh, he had
Since
he had
that
a lot
point,
more.
how about 3 more titles
Yep.
to add to his resume, okay?
Uh-huh.
The man is 7-3 in Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's trying to go for his 11th appearance in a 22-year career this year.
That is correct. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We keep looking for this guy to, fall off a cliff, as Max Kellerman famously
Yeah. Well,
said.
Max Kellerman fell off a cliff for
And
first
by the
take.
way, he's gone. He's
Yeah.
out of there.
Yep.
Oh, Brady didn't fall off any cliff in those last, 5-6 years, okay?
No.
Tom Brady is standing
there's
high
another-
atop the mountain right now.
Oh, there's a quarterback that fell off the mountain the other day.
Oh, I know.
I
We're
keep
gonna get
teasing
that.
it. I keep on teasing it. We're getting to it. Everyone that's listening knows who we're going to talk about.
As long as Tom
Yep,
Brady...
got the text from my mom.
As that's good. See, there you go. So that shows that your parents are listening.
Oh wait,
There you
no,
go.
that's my sister definitely texting that.
Oh,
Yeah, she took my mom's phone.
that's funny.
Whatever.
Finishing, I promise, I'm finishing. As long as this guy keeps going like he is, Tom Brady looked great Thursday. And I'm not talking about, just his completion percentage. he was throwing dimes left and right. He was accurate. That's not a 44-year-old QB out there, is it?
No. Well, it helps that he doesn't get hit.
True. He's always had a strong offensive line.
He's got great protection. He's got all the weapons in the world. I mean, this guy could play till he's 50.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean,
as long as Tom Brady keeps playing like this, the Bucs are going nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. They might have just eked it out the other night, but this was a great win. This was a great win.
Yeah, and yeah. Speaking of wins that weren't so great, or wins that didn't happen at all, so let's get into the game that I want to talk about before we get into our local teams. So, I am one of the biggest fans of this quarterback. I do admit that some of the things that he did in the offseason, you expect out of a child, out of a teenager. But what I saw on Sunday was absolutely ridiculous and horrible to watch. So the Green Bay Packers, they roll up to Jacksonville to play the New Orleans Saints because of the hurricane. Hopefully everything is, going well down there because they really got hit. And, it's just another thing that the city of New Orleans has to deal with. So hopefully everything, starts to correct itself. I can't even talk. And hopefully everybody is safe and everyone's doing well. I'm not very good at being sentimental, but, our hearts are out there for the people of New Orleans. But, yeah, the Packers roll up to Jacksonville. They play the Saints. And they lose by a score of 38-3. Yeah, 38-3.
Packers were abysmal.
So through all that off-season drama, all of the social media posts and the television appearances and all that, and that's what we get. That was disgusting. I'm sorry. That was absolutely disgusting. The defense, the defense is so bad. And who got burnt by Scotty Miller in the NFC Championship game? Kevin King. And he also got burnt by Mike Evans on the first touchdown as well. He gets burnt again by Deontay Harris. Why is this guy still on the team? Why? He's terrible. And this is a guy that was injured a lot first couple of years in the league. Finally he's playing, and he does that. In the championship game and in the game that just happened on Sunday. Guy is awful. Packers couldn't get any pass rush. I mean, you can't even name the wide receivers out of they're not household names. You couldn't, if you saw them walking down the street, you wouldn't know who they were. Chris Hogan scored a touchdown in this game. Chris Hogan, remember Chris Hogan?
I really had no knowledge before he got that he was even on the Saints.
He scored a touchdown in this game. I mean, the only people that, you would understand is first of all, Jameis Winston throwing 5 touchdowns. You know him. And Kamara had a touchdown in this game. So you know him as well. I mean, that was terrible. And Jameis Winston only threw for 148 yards, but that's because the Packers were giving him such great field position. And Rodgers, let's look at the statistics, okay? So, Aaron Rodgers, 15 of 28, 133 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And he's coming off an MVP season. And you look at the statistics in the running game. A.J. Dillon, 19 yards rushing. Hill, 14 yards rushing. Aaron Jones, 9 rushing yards. Randall Cobb, 1 rushing yard. I don't even remember Randall Cobb even, I didn't even see him do anything.
He just had 1 catch.
Yeah.
32 yards.
I don't even recall seeing that. I don't. Devontae Adams, of course, was the leading receiver, 5 receptions, 56 yards. I mean, but you look at the body language, though. Like, Rodgers just sitting on the bench next to Devontae. I mean, it's just like, what are you doing? I mean, do you not care?
I mean, look at his post-game interview, too.
The
guy looks like he doesn't want to be there right now. That's really what it looks like.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't look like he wants to be there. It's pathetic. It really is.
I mean, you have to have a feeling, no matter what this Week 1 debacle turns into,
well,
whether it's a good or bad season in the end for the Packers, this is Rodgers' last dance, isn't it?
I think so. I think so. I think he's done after this year with the Packers. I mean, but you look at their schedule, I don't think they're going third. Well, obviously there's an extra game, but I don't think they're coming anywhere near 13-3. After they play the Saints, they now go on to play the Lions, which hopefully we'll touch upon that game, but I don't think the Lions are going to be a cakewalk. And also because how the defense played, yeah, that game's going to be tough. Then you got your old buddy, the San Francisco 49ers. You go to San Francisco. They won last year. I think it was 34-17 on a Thursday night. But let's not forget, the entire 49ers roster was injured. Now they're at full strength. And remember the last time the 49ers team was at full strength was the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. And you're fortunate, because I hope he gets back soon, you're lucky Raheem Mostert isn't playing in this game, because you don't have to deal with 220 rushing yards against him, having to deal with that again. No. He's not going to be in this game. But you got Elijah Mitchell now, and you got all those other running backs. They could do that to you, because your run defense is terrible still. It's terrible. And you got to deal with Kittle and Debo and, well, stuff going on with Brandon Ayuk, but you're going to have to deal with all that in 2 weeks. On Sunday Night Football, which I remember the last time they played on Sunday night against the 49ers, that was a debacle too. Both games against the 49ers in 2019 were terrible. I do not count last year, okay? Everybody on that team was injured. So now, you're going to have to deal with that. Then, you got to deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers in that defense. Now, you're lucky you're at home. So you got to deal with them. All right, you play the Bengals, you play the Bears. Those should be wins. Then you play the Washington football team. I mean, that game is a little... They should win that game. But then, this is the gauntlet. 5 straight games. At Arizona. At Arrowhead. Home for the Seahawks. At Minnesota. Home for the Rams. You're not winning all those games. Hell, you might lose every single game. I see 3 losses in there, at least. See how the Rams played? You see how the Chiefs played? The Cardinals? With that pass rush? I mean, they got issues. They really got issues. And then on top of that, you got Baltimore and Cleveland late in the season. I mean, this team could have a losing record. This team could have a losing record, honestly. It's pathetic. I mean, I know it's only one game, but you better hope you beat the Lions on Monday. Because if you don't, you're looking at 0-4 in the face. You're definitely going to start off 1-2. I give them 0 shot to beat the 49ers. 0. Because the 49ers know how to play against this team. They are going to run the football. And they are going to rush the passer. And he's going to be under duress all night in that game. I already know. Because I remember 2 years ago, was hyped to watch that game. And on the first play, he fumbles the ball. And I said, yep, this game's going to be a blowout. And it was. And it was a blowout. It's going to be a blowout. It's not even close. Honestly, you're lucky you're not playing Tampa this year, too. Unless you see him in the playoffs. If you, in fact, get there. So, overall, pathetic performance by the Green Bay Packers. Absolutely just atrocious. And let's see what they do on Monday. But that's not going to be a cakewalk by any stretch. They got a lot of issues. And I think they have a quarterback that just doesn't want to play. His mindset is not all there. He's got his eyes set somewhere else right now. I think obviously he's going to play, and I think that, he'll turn in a decent season if he does play every game. But he's ready to walk out that door. He's got one foot out. He's not all in. I don't think he is. But it's embarrassing. Really, there's no other way to say it. It's embarrassing what I saw. And another thing, this guy does not play well against good defenses, and this guy is not good from behind. This guy cannot play from behind at all. At all. When he gets down by more than 7 points, game's over. That's it. Like, he's all right. He's like, all right, let's move on. Let's move on to next week or next year if it's in the playoffs, because you've gotten obliterated in the playoffs in the past. That's why Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, you'd rather have those guys over him because they don't give up. I mean, we saw Brady do it in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, 28-3. Did he give up? No, he kept playing and he won. Now, the only time I actually saw Aaron Rodgers be somewhat of a leader was when he was on the sideline telling his defense to get stops. And they got stops. Did you cash in on any of those stops? No, you didn't. You had so many opportunities to beat Tom Brady, and you didn't. Now you're 0-1. Had the least amount of points of any team. Even the Falcons scored more points than you this week. And they were terrible. They got some soul searching. They really do. But that's just, that's just inexcusable. Am I overreacting? A little bit. It's only one game. But they really got to tidy things up. Well, they got to do more than that. Because, between that and the defense, the defense is atrocious. I don't know what to say. But let me tell you something. You're not going to the NFC Championship game. You're not. The Rams are better than you. The Bucs are better than you. The 49ers are better than you. Seattle and you are probably neck and neck. So you're like maybe the third, you're like the fourth or fifth best team in the NFC. So if you make the playoffs, have fun going to those stadiums to play, because you will get run out of those stadiums in the playoffs, judging by how some of these teams played over the weekend. So have fun. I'm still going to root for him. I'm still going to root for him to have a good season, try to win a Super Bowl. But, come on. Go out there and show people why you're great. Don't you want that? Don't you want to be great? Because you're not even close to the stature of Brady. You're not. I wanted him to catch up to Brady in rings. That is not realistic at all. Because Brady keeps winning. You're lucky you could win another one, if you even get back to one. So, let's see what happens. Again, only one game, but that was something else on Sunday.
Spot on, my friend. Everything is going wrong for the Green Bay Packers. And you have every right to be frustrated after what was one of the most appalling performances out of that franchise, really. The Saints chose Jacksonville as the neutral site, of course, with the hurricane.
It was a smart decision by them.
And, yeah, because Aaron Rodgers, supposedly his track
Gio, 2-run homer.
Nice.
All right. They didn't rob that.
Take a lead, and then it looks like Kenny's laptop just died. Is that your battery on you? Well,
yeah.
Either way. So they were smart to do that because Aaron Rodgers' track record has not been good in Jacksonville, and clearly that was shown on Sunday. 75 total yards in the first half. No less, you let the Saints go on a 15-play, 80-yard drive that took 10 minutes, and a 15-play, 76-yard drive that was just shy of 8 minutes. So on two drives, The Saints occupy 18 minutes in the first half. Heck, they had the ball 21 and a half minutes in the first half. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I forgot.
This defense...
3 possessions.
This defense is getting shredded.
Yep.
Absolutely shredded. It's bad. It is so bad.
Yep.
Like you said, Kenny, how do you expect this team to contend with LA? Or Tampa? Or even Seattle? San Francisco, too. How do you expect right now, based off of that performance, that the Green Bay Packers are going to be a contender in the NFC this year? I don't see it. It's pathetic. And you're so right about Aaron Rodgers not having anything in him when this team gets down. I mean, this team could fall behind by 10 or 14 points, and the game might be over. It's bad. It's so bad. If this defense doesn't show any signs of improvement over the coming weeks, and, like you said, the Lions are no piece of cake Monday night. They look what they did to the 49ers in the end. Now, sure, they had an onside kick recovered, and obviously the 49ers defense was,
I would love to see
prevent.
I would love to see the Lions win. I would love to see that.
At this point, you can't really rule it out.
I like their head coach. I want Jared Goff to do well. I would love to see the Lions go into Lambeau and win. I really would.
We were laughing at the Detroit Lions, leading up to Sunday about, well, this team's going to be horrific. And sure, did they play really bad on Sunday? Yeah, for the most part. They, like I said, they had that spurt in the fourth quarter. Jared Goff was actually decent, though, But it's not out of the realm of possibility right now. And the fact that we're even discussing the Detroit Lions having a chance to upset the Green Bay Packers on Monday night, it's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, but knowing my luck and how bad I am with predicting things, Packers will come out and drop 40 points against them and win.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing. They're going to be ticked. That's for sure. They have to be ticked.
I hope they are.
Because
I hope.
This was a pathetic loss on Sunday, okay? Heck, the fact that Jameis Winston had 5 touchdowns with under 150 passing yards.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, my goodness.
That's how bad the Packers were.
They were absolutely terrible.
No disrespect to Jameis and that offense and what they were able to do, but that game was more about the bad Packers as opposed to good Saints.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Packers were completely off their game on Sunday. Yeah, and the Saints took advantage.
Oh, did they ever?
Oh, they did.
Did they ever?
Putting up 14 in both the second and fourth quarters, okay?
Yep. Yeah, it was terrible.
But we were just discussing how bad the Cowboys' defense is. Look at this defense. They're equally as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, if we have Cowboys-Packers this year, which we don't, that could be like a 45-42 game.
Yeah.
That would be a high-scoring game. Oh, and you mentioned that tough schedule? You have to play the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Ravens, and the Browns, all in the second half of your schedule.
Well, don't forget about the Cardinals in Minnesota twice.
I know, that's true. That's in the first half.
Yeah,
that's
in the first half. That pass rush was for Arizona with Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then you got to go up for that defense. You got to go up against D-Hop and Kyler Murray.
They confused the Titans on Sunday. That was, oh my goodness. Yeah, have fun with that, Green Bay. You're right. And yet again, here we go. Packers 49ers on Sunday Night Football again.
Yeah, that's going to be a blowout. I see no way that the Packers win this game. They can attack that secondary. I think that's the weakness in the 49ers defense. But you're not going to be able to do anything when you're going to be chased after by Nick Bosa and those guys on that defensive line. Because I think the Packers' O-line is going to get overwhelmed in that game. They're not going to be able to do anything.
Certainly.
And then on the other side, you got that defense going up against that running game.
Have fun. I know.
Okay, have fun.
I know
Yeah,
there's
really.
I know there's no
That'd be
Mostert.
terrible.
Sure, there's no Mostert, but still, it doesn't mean anything.
No, it
the
doesn't.
49ers have always had
No.
a great running game the last couple of seasons.
And the other thing I'll say is Matt LaFleur, he's been good for them. I don't want to say great. He's been good for them the past 2 years. This guy doesn't know how to make adjustments. This guy does not know how to handle big-time situations in big-time games. He gets out-coached in those games. And let me tell you something. The second that Rodgers leaves, if this team turns to be horrible, one of the worst in the NFL, Matt LaFleur is going to be out of a job, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Like I said, great regular season record. 2 NFC championship games. But how much is that on him compared to how much it's on Rodgers and the players on this team? I don't know. Also, Anthony Rizzo's wearing number 21.
Did not know that.
I did not know that either. What was he wearing prior to that? Oh, 48.
48, yes.
Huh. That's interesting.
I don't know who the Yankees have that's 48. But I'll just finish with this, okay? You know, we both picked. We were sitting here last week, and we both picked the Green Bay Packers to win this division. They have to worry about staying in this division right now.
Well, everybody lost in their division.
Correct.
So at least
That's
they have
true.
All right, so at least they have that going.
That's
for
the
them.
upper edge right now.
Okay.
But there is nothing. There's absolutely nothing to take away from that game on Sunday. There's no moral victory. You know, you can look at games that, you know, you might get demolished in, or you're just completely off your game. You know, there's something in there, right, that can be taken away. Oh no.
What?
The Packers
Oh.
were. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh, no. No. I'm just saying. Oh no. There's no moral victory to take away from this loss for the Packers. It was a pathetic and lifeless game for this team. Yeah. And next up, you got the Lions on Monday Night Football. So we're gonna find out on Monday night just how ticked off this team is and if they're ready to show up and actually compete.
Or if they fold like a deck of cards.
Seriously. We're going to find out what happens come Monday.
I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it just, whatever. So we got what, like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Till break. We got to try to end things at exactly 9:00 because there's a show after us.
Yes.
Which we were talking about. It's very odd that a show on a Wednesday is at 9:00. I don't know. That's just, I mean,
Yeah, definitely a bit later of an option.
yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, hey, we were talking about doing a show from like 7 to 10 for the last hurrah.
We did.
So I mean, whatever. Sure, the show's good. It's just we kind of felt bad because we had the what is going on out there? We have the phone here, and the phone was just lighting up because people were on the line, and I guess they were calling the studio to be like, "Hey, you guys got to wrap up because we got a show to do." Which we're like, that's bad because last year we didn't have this problem. We didn't think we were gonna have this problem this year, but I guess we do. So yeah, when we get back, so we're gonna take a break. Well, I'll give it over to my co-host, do the Sports Minute. We'll talk more about Week 1, get into some baseball stuff, hopefully, because there's still so much to talk about with the NFL. We'll get into the local teams, I think, and then maybe touch upon some of the other games. And then we'll get into baseball, and that'll be it. Hour number 2. Actually, when we come back, do you want to do Ups and Unleashed to open up?
Ooh, good idea. I like the sound
All right,
of that.
all right, perfect. All right, so I'm going to shoot it over to my co-host. He'll take us right into break with his Sports Minute. When we come back, Ups and Unleashed, more NFL stuff, Yankee stuff. So, Ben, take it away.
All right, Kenny. Indeed, it is 8 o'clock on this Wednesday evening, and it is your sports update. So, of course, this past weekend at the U.S. Open in New York, it was an all-teenage women's final as Emma Raducanu faced Leylah Fernandez, 18 and 19 years old, respectively. Emma Raducanu ended up taking that one in straight sets on Saturday, And then in the men's final on Sunday, Daniil Medvedev against Novak Djokovic, a rematch of the 2021 Australian Open final, which was way back in January, the first slam of the year. And Medvedev ended up flipping the script in a massive upset, denying Novak Djokovic of the calendar Grand Slam, which is when you win all 4 Grand Slam titles in a season, which is the Australian Open, the French Open, denying Novak Djokovic of the calendar Grand Slam, which is when you win all 4 Grand Slam titles in a season, which is the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open. So Djokovic only walked away with 3 titles this year. I know, what a shame. And he is also denied from taking the solo lead for most Grand Slam titles all time. Of course, all 3, the big 3, Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, and Rafael Nadal, all tied with 20 titles apiece, respectively. In Major League Baseball, going on around the league tonight, of course, as we get closer and closer to the postseason, it's Roberto Clemente Day. And some finals from this afternoon's action. The Marlins over the Nationals 8-6. Tigers take down the Brewers once again 4-1. And the Blue Jays take the series from Tampa 6-3 this afternoon. And going on right now, as we were mentioning on the air, Gio Urshela with a 2-run homer for the New York Yankees. In the top half of the 3rd inning, it's 2-0 currently in Baltimore. The Red Sox and the Mariners are still going in the bottom of the 10th inning, 9-3. Okay, so now that Kenny's signaling to me the 21 of Roberto Clemente, now that might make sense why Anthony Rizzo is wearing number 21. A little bit of homage to Roberto Clemente. Look at that. And what was that, Kenny?
No, I thought Mullins hit a home run. I feel like such an idiot now.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. Yeah, so that might explain why Rizzo was wearing 21. Side note. Like I said, they're still going in Seattle. The Red Sox put up 6 in the top half of the 10th, and they're up 9-3. Looking like they're going to take that one, bottom of the 10th currently in Seattle. They're looking to take that series as well. 2-1 2-1 Reds over the Pirates in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Reds in the thick of the NL wildcard race. Cubs and the Phillies, no score, bottom of the 3rd inning. The Mets, Tyler McGill, got rocked around in the 1st inning with a 5 spot for the Cardinals. It's now 5-1. Cardinals leading in the top of the 3rd. Both teams trying to stay in the wild card hunt. Cardinals right on the verge with the Padres collapsing. And no score Rockies and the Braves, bottom of the 2nd inning. No score Indians Twins. They're going to the bottom of the 2nd as well. A game's about to start in the 8 o'clock hour. Astros at the Rangers. The A's at the Royals. A's have been cold lately. They're trying to stay alive in the AL wildcard race. And the Angels at the White Sox. And then later tonight, the Padres at the Giants and the Diamondbacks at the Dodgers. Both the Giants and the Dodgers, by the way, they just keep on winning. And they have now respectively clinched playoff spots with still 18 days remaining in the regular season. That is your sports update. We'll be back with Ups and Unleashed and a full hour 2 of commentary. It's Infinite Sports Radio.
The soundtrack.
Oh, we're back and better than ever. Ups and Unleashed is in full swing, baby. So let's get right into it, shall we? A little new intro and everything. Yeah, I tossed that together in 20 minutes tonight.
Do you have the show intro done?
No, that's still a work in progress.
All right.
That's going to get done for next week. I'm going to get that done for next week.
Perfect.
All right. So there's really just one major thing on the agenda tonight. Maybe another minor thing we'll mention, but let's get into the whole debacle of how I ended up getting to the studio late. Kenny had already, mentioned, and I'm sure to you all, because I was not here at 7 o'clock. Okay? I was just, doing some, work up at York Hill, and time got a little bit away from me, I guess. But, I look at the clock, it's like, all right, 6:30, I'll catch a shuttle within the next 10 minutes, and maybe we'll get down here. But, oh, did I forget about the Quinnipiac University Pro Park shuttle system around here, eh? It took me 23 minutes to get a shuttle to show up tonight, okay? I walk out to that station outside of ECU at 6:32, and it comes pulling up at 6:55. Meanwhile, I have 2 guys who pull up and say, I'm switching shifts. That's what one person says. The other person says, my dinner break, sorry. It's like, okay. Sure, I guess, I give credit to these drivers, okay? They're just doing their job, okay? I understand. And no offense to them. But we got to get a system in place because this is ridiculous. We can't have people waiting more than 10, 15 minutes at a shuttle stop. What if you have to go to class? What if you got something big on your plate that you got to get out of the way? You going to rely on the shuttle system? It's not going to work. 23 minutes. Kenny, I could drive to New Haven and halfway back in 23 minutes. Yeah. That's how long that took tonight. Really. We got to figure it out, though. Like I said.
Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to... What's happening right now is, see, they form pods, the shuttles, okay? There's 5, okay? You got the green, the orange, the blue, the yellow, and I think the purple one, which goes to North Haven, okay? What happens is they all end up in pods. We got to get the system figured out here. How about we stagger everybody? So that way you get one like every 5 minutes and not 3 within the course of, 3 minutes. Figure it out. Got to figure it out. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so that's how I ended up with this debacle. But, okay. The real problem that I have right now, I'm not even a New York Mets fan. Kenny and I, of course, are on the other side of the city, okay? Which that team is currently winning right now. Let's go. Last night is another prime example of why the Mets are an absolutely frustrating team to watch. I mean, this team had a prime opportunity. Everybody above you lost. And I'm talking the Padres, the Reds, and the Phillies. And the Mets were playing the Cardinals, who are right in it too. You beat them, and you're really close. The Mets would have been 2.5 games back if they won that game last night. 2.5. Instead, what does this team do? Okay? 3-2 lead. And you took it to the 8th inning last night. And what happens but yet another choke job by Jeurys Familia? After you bring in Aaron Loup, who gets a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th, and he throws 7 pitches. What are you doing, Luis Rojas? That's ridiculous. What's the problem with sticking with Loup for 2 innings? I'm not even a Mets fan, and this just upsets me. Baseball is changing for the worse. It's analytics. It's all ruining the sport that we used to know. All right? Then in the 8th, Jeurys Familia lets up a 2-run bomb to Tyler O'Neill. Just like that, Cardinals jumped out 4-3. And, just to bring on some FH, okay? Javi Baez gets a game-tying homer in the 9th. That just gets over the wall, by the way. It's a flat wall in that left field corner at Citi Field. And it landed above that orange line, so that means it's a homer. And then, no less, you bring in Heath Hembree in the 10th, who's able to get around out of trouble, okay? 4-4, bottom of the 10th. Mets have a prime opportunity to get something, okay? Because, again, remember, we start with the ghost runner at second base now in extra innings. And after a walk to VR and a dribbler by James McCann that got Pilar over to third, you got first and third, 1 man out. And you have the money part of your lineup coming. And what does Francisco Lindor do? He grounds into a double play. And the one spot on the diamond that you can't hit it to. First base. Goes right to first base. Great angle throw home. Pilar's out by a mile. And the rally was killed. I mean, you pay this guy all this money, and then that happens. And then flash forward to the 11th now, okay? We have freaking Addison Reed's cousin out on the mound. Jake Reed. I never heard of this guy before last night. This guy pitched 4 innings on the year. Where's Seth Lugo? What? Why didn't he come in this game? I mean, Jake Reed. Who? Yeah, here's this guy's stats, okay? 9 games, 0-1 now with the 3.72 ERA. He's tossed 9 2/3 innings. I'm stunned. I am stunned at how bad that this team can be with decisions. Luis Rojas needs to get the heck out of here after this season. Because this is inexcusable. And the Mets even got 2 runs across in the 11th. They lost 7-6. Alonso gets a 1-out RBI double. And then Pilar got on first via a throwing error. And that's another thing. You bring in Albert Almora at a pinch hit. Guy batting 118. What's going on? I mean, what are we thinking, Mets? What are we thinking? And just when you think this team has a chance to make a run at anything with the postseason, it all gets dashed because of Addison Reed's cousin out on the mound and the lack of a clutch hit by your shortstop that you're paying, $300-something million. Look at this team. Cursed. Get Luis Rojas out of New York. Because this is ridiculous. Bad decision after bad decision. The Mets have lost 14 of their last 16 games that have been decided by 1 run. 14 of 16 by 1 run. That's ridiculous. That's, what is that, like 88%? So 9 out of 10 times, the Mets will lose a 1-run game. That's ridiculous. This is unbelievable. And that's a game last night that just dashed any sort of hope that a Mets fan might have. And it's hard to find hope with this team in general because of stuff like that. Typical. Script every night. Either Familia or Diaz come in, they blow a freaking lead. They can't get a clutch hit. And the bullpen in general is just booty for this Mets team. Really? It's not good. Seth Lugo did not come into this game last night. That's ridiculous. That makes me upset, even as a Yankee fan. So, yeah, figure it out. Tell that right now to the Mets. And, they're not figuring it out tonight. That's for sure, okay? Freaking Tyler McGill giving up 5 runs in the first. Okay, but he goes 7 strong with 10 strikeouts against the Yankees. Okay, yeah. And it was his longest start of the year. Good Lord. This team's cursed. 5-2 Cardinals. Looks like the Mets will be golfing again in October. So, and that is the first Ups and Unleashed of the year. Hope you enjoyed.
That was really good. Yeah, I mean,
How'd you like the intro, too?
Oh, that was great. That was really good.
Look, I was going to throw in, I said over easy from Anger Management.
Oh,
I should have thrown that in.
You know what? You might have to tweak it a little bit.
I might have to tweak it.
You might have to tweak it a little bit because I would love that.
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely love that if you do that. Yeah, I know. Like the Mets, they act like world beaters, and it's like their World Series when they play the Yankees. But then they play against the Cardinals and they forget how to play baseball. I don't know. That's just what happens. And you know what? Hey, the Mets played well against the Yankees this year, but against everybody else, Yeah, not so much. Not so much.
Yeah.
And we picked this stupid team to win the division.
Yeah, and I said
They're never doing that again. Absolutely not.
I said 90 wins. What was I thinking?
Yeah, they're not even going to get it. Not even going to get it.
Nothing close to 90.
Nope. And you know what? I think a lot of it also had to do with injuries. I mean, they lost arguably the best pitcher in baseball. Okay? I mean,
we can't forget about that.
That has to factor in. Now, I know they don't give him run support and stuff, but, I mean, come on. There's got to be something to do with that. Yeah, I mean, the Mets, I mean, what can you say? They're an embarrassment. And, you know, they still got a chance. It's a very slim chance, but they're an embarrassment. Like our baseball team, too, but, you know, they actually are starting to put together some wins, even though against and Cortez is dealing. I know it's against the Orioles. I know they're playing some lesser opponents, but my only argument is it builds confidence. So this is probably where the Yankees will go on that hot streak, and then they'll go cold at some point, and probably just in time for the playoffs. So they'll be out in the wild card round. And we were going through the wild card scenarios, and that one where you got, if you have a three-way tie, what'd you say? You said Team A and Team B play each other. The winner is the first wild card.
Right.
Then Team B and Team C play each other. The winner of that game is the second wild card. And then you have the wild card game. Could you imagine if that happens?
So,
I said that right, though.
Right. No, right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, so once again, you know, post tonight's action with, you know, Boston and Toronto already winning.
Correct.
They move up into the wild card spots for right now.
Okay, and then
their records are tied.
Outside. Yankees are on the outside looking in.
Right. But, you know, assuming that the Yankees can hold on here in Baltimore tonight, of course it's only 2-0 at the moment.
Right.
We're going to be back to that three-way tie now, back-to-back nights.
Yes. Yep.
So all of a sudden, you know, with the Yankees' awful losing streak, they have just made this race a whole lot more interesting.
Yep.
And not for themselves, that's for sure.
Well, also because Toronto just doesn't lose.
Oh, absolutely. Toronto is riding the hot hand right now. They've won.
That lineup is incredible.
They've won 9 out of their last 11.
That lineup is incredible.
Yeah, Vlad Jr. now passing Ohtani for most homers in the league this season.
Springer,
Bo Bichette, Marcus Semien.
Oh, my God. I keep forgetting about Marcus Semien.
Dude, Marcus Semien is...
And Teoscar Hernandez. This lineup
If
is
it weren't for
insane.
Ohtani, Marcus Semien should be considered for MVP.
I think it would go to Vlad.
You think so?
I think it would go to Vlad. But Semien is definitely up there. He was an MVP candidate, Semien, 2 years ago.
Yep. That's right.
Brilliant move by the A's. And I think we talked about this last week. Brilliant move by the A's to get rid of Marcus Semien and bring in Elvis Andrus. Brilliant move by the A's.
Yeah, and look how well that's working out for them right now.
Seriously.
They've lost three straight. They've lost 3 straight at one of the most crucial parts of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And to the Kansas City Royals, no less. If they lose tonight, they're going to be, 4 back?
Probably.
Yeah. 4 back.
That team's definitely done.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not going to rule out Seattle just yet.
No.
I still have a little bit of hopes for Seattle. I think Seattle can still compete in this race.
I agree.
But Oakland's fading and quick, and they're
I think
bad.
they're done. I think they're done.
They're bad. But Kenny, let's segue here into, of course, our team, the New York Yankees, and I guess I'll just say a couple of remarks quick to open.
What else could we say about this team?
Yeah, really.
Talk about them all the time.
We talk about the Mets taking you on a roller coaster. Oh, the Yankees have been doing the same thing here these last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And of course, we mentioned it. It all started back on September 3rd. Okay. That was the last time the Yankees would win a game. All the way until September 11th. Which, by the way, the ceremonies were amazing at Citi Field on Saturday. That was great.
Yeah,
of course.
That Subway series was very good.
Yep, commemorating the 20th anniversary of 9/11. But so it was a 8 game span. The Yankees lost 7 straight games. From 78 Yeah, from 78 and 56 to 78 and 63, just like that. Snap of a finger. A horrific week this season really just made this race so much more tighter for themselves. And yes, Kenny, you mentioned it, that Subway Series as a whole was awesome this past weekend. Okay, that was definitely one of the more memorable in past years.
Yeah, I think for Yankee fans, though, it's a little bit more forgettable because the Mets outplayed us.
Sure, they certainly did. And of course, it all came right. It all came to a height on Sunday when Francisco Lindor has a 3-homer game. And after he hits his second homer, he's trotting around the bases and he gives a whistling motion, which appeared to be toward Giancarlo Stanton. Because rumors have been swirling around the past couple of days, supposedly. And I'm sure it's all smoke. I'm sure it is. That the Yankees have been, using whistles and, all about tipping pitches and stuff. That's been going on for a long time. That's beyond the Yankees. But what made it even more dramatic on Sunday is Giancarlo Stanton answers with a 2-run shot in the 8th. And he's going around and he says to Lindor, you could clearly read his lips. He basically said, don't be talking stuff, but, with a more explicit word at the end that we can't say. And the teams come out on the field. Nothing actually happened. But I tell you, Lindor and Baez, really, what wimps. You were talking about it, Kenny. Come on, man.
I mean,
stirring the pot for a useless reason.
Okay, but look at who they would have had to go up against if things got ugly. If things got really ugly, and there were punches thrown and stuff. You have to go up against Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo, Anthony Rizzo, and Luke Voit. And on top of that, we have Aroldis Chapman and Rougned Odor. And let's not forget, he laid that haymaker against Jose Bautista back in the day. So you have to deal with all of that. They would have got stomped in a brawl against the Yankees.
No shot.
And
no shot.
If you remember from a couple years ago, when the Yankees and the Red Sox had their benches clearing brawl, Stanton and Judge moved that whole pile back into the Red Sox dugout. Just those two guys. Now you add Rizzo, Gallo, Voit. I mean, what did Lindor and Baez think was going to happen? They would have got destroyed. Garrett Cole was ready to throw punches too. Because he got very animated when Lindor was doing all that stuff too. So the Mets would have got killed in the brawl. But, of course, do the Yankees ever get the last laugh with anything?
Nope.
No, they don't. You go back to earlier this year in, July? When they were playing the Astros and Judge did, well, yes, it was a series before the All-Star break. And Judge is doing the jersey tug. And then the next day, now they won 2 out of 3. The next day, they blew a 7-2 lead in the 9th inning. And who won the game for them? Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve. So you talk all that smack. You won 2 out of 3, but you know what? The Astros got the last laugh, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Then Lindor starts doing the whistling thing. Yes, that was instigated by the Mets. There's no question about it. There was a misunderstanding with that. Then the Yankees answer back. They start chirping back. And guess what happens? It was literally scripted. It was almost like it was scripted. Francisco Lindor comes up against Chad Green, who is not good in high leverage situations. Is not. Grooves a fastball right down the middle. Boom. 3rd home run of the game for Lindor, and that's all she wrote for the Yankees. I'm like, this game's over. Lindor's going to hit a home run right here. It's bound to happen. My friend Kevin texted me mere seconds before it happened. Lindor hits a home run. Game over. And Stanton comes up in the 9th inning, has a chance to be the hero, and he's swinging at pitches out of the zone. He should have walked.
Yeah,
they don't always have to go for the home run. Just all we needed was a base hit.
He came up swinging all right.
And who did he pop out to? Francisco Lindor.
Yep.
So once again, the Yankees do not get the last laugh. They never get the last laugh. It's always the other team. So you know what, Yankees? You guys talk a lot of smack, but guess what? You never have the last laugh with anything. With anything. Because you never won anything. The only people that have won rings on this team, Gardner, back in 2009, and Rizzo and Chapman with the Cubs. That's it. Nobody on this team has any jewelry. None. So you know when you talk the talk, but when it comes to walk the walk, you come up pretty short. So do me a favor, Yankees. Now, they are on a 2-game winning streak against inferior teams. They should have lost on Monday. They're fortunate they won that game. Thank you, Aaron Judge. Best player on the team, not even close. They're lucky they won that game. Then yesterday, 5 home runs from Gallo, Judge, Stanton, Voit, and LeMahieu.
Yesterday was
that was big.
Yesterday was actually, for once, a comfortable win. It was never really in doubt.
Yep, and it got a little ugly at the end. They had to bring in Chapman. Fine. Cole struggled a little bit, gave them some length. That was a good win. And they're winning right now. Cortez is pitching well.
Over 4 innings.
Let's sweep this team, the Orioles, because my God, the amount of problems that they've had with this team all year, and I don't understand why. They destroyed this team 2 years ago. Now it's just I don't know what's happened to this team. And it goes for many other things as well. And I mean, we're still being negative about this team. They have a 2-game winning streak.
Right.
But it's just, they are so streaky. And if they go on a hot streak, you know at some point they're going to cool off again. And when they cool off, going to be around the time where it's either going to be that 9-game stretch that you keep talking about between Toronto, well, first is Boston. Is first Boston? First is Boston, then Toronto.
Yes, Boston,
in
Toronto.
Fenway,
Tampa.
then in Toronto, and then Tampa at home to finish off the season. And I agree with you 100%. That's going to define the season. And if you lose 2 out of 3 in Fenway, 2 out of 3, or get swept in Toronto, and then you lay an egg against the Rays, see you next year. See you next year. Because you're not making the playoffs. You want to prove something, you go out there and you win those last 9 games. Because that really is going to define your season. It really is. Your season is not going to be defined against the Orioles, against the Indians, against the Rangers. Your season is going to be defined against your divisional opponents. So go out there, win 2 out of 3 at least from each of those teams. And I guarantee you will be one of the wild card representatives for the playoffs. And you better hope that game is at Yankee Stadium. You better get that top wild card game. Because you're not winning in Toronto, and you are not winning in Fenway. You're not. And even if you get past that, you're going up against the Rays. It's not going to matter. But, hey, at least we tried. You never know. They got to get healthy, though. Get Loizaga back. Get Herman and Severino in this bullpen, hopefully. And get Andrew Heaney out of the bullpen. Okay? We need Loizaga back in the worst of ways. I think Chapman has kind of figured it out a little bit. I still don't trust him. I still don't trust anybody in this bullpen. And I've talked about it ever since freshman year doing this show. Even when this bullpen was good, I never trusted anybody. Britton, Betances, Chapman, never trusted any of them. And this was the year the bullpen finally imploded and gives me more of a reason not to trust them. So, and they don't have starting pitching. I mean, they don't. Outside of Cole. I mean, Cortez has been good, but how is Cortez going to be in a playoff start? How's Montgomery? We saw him in one playoff start last year against the Rays and was very good. So I think I trust Monty a little bit. But the Yankees don't give him run support. I mean, are we going to trust Kluber? I don't think so. Kluber's not built up. I mean, maybe if Kluber over these last 2 weeks, and they're giving the injury report right now, Jameson Taillon is through a bullpen session today. What is going on with my laptop?
Oh, no.
And this time it was plugged in. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I really hope this is not because of it falling the other day. Because that might be the reason why. But, hey, it turned back on right away, so that's good. But, Taillon threw a bullpen. Loizaca's close. And Herman, let me go back because, of course, that just has to happen. Because I'm watching the stream on the.
I know.
App.
I think the other night.
I think Herman's going to start a rehab assignment. I think.
Yeah, I think the other night I saw on Twitter that Domingo Herman is slated to start in AAA later this week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Okay. All right. Well, that was weird that my laptop just did that.
But
it makes me a little nervous now that it keeps doing that, even when it's charging. I'm just going to turn it off.
That's not good in some ways. One thing I'll just say quickly. Look, we know that this is the Orioles, but what have we kept saying over and over, Kenny? These are the games that the Yankees have to win. You see Tampa, for example, 18-1 against this team this year.
Yep.
They can beat those teams easily.
Yep.
The Yankees have been streaky in that regard. And that's why they need, to really build upon this streak here.
Yes,
because
sir.
all I believe that it was going to take, was going to be 1 or 2 games to perhaps flip a switch and send this team right back in the same direction that they were going before the losing streak. And that was up. So, of course, like we were talking about Cortez tonight, he just gave up a base hit, only his second hit of the night so far. Through 4 1/3 scoreless, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 8 strikeouts. These are the performances that you want out of your staff. And yes, again, it is the Orioles, but these are still regular season games, and they will still count in the end. So it's always an encouraging sign, to see your team performing better or very well, I should say, against, the losing teams and the teams that you have to beat. So this is a start for the Yankees, and it's got to keep going because you head home this weekend for your second to last homestand. Well, technically, the last 3 games against Tampa isn't really a homestand. It's just the finale. So technically, this is the last full homestand at Yankee Stadium coming up. And you have 3 with the Indians and 3 with the Rangers. There should be no excuses for those games right there. Clearly, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, especially the Blue Jays, are going to keep on winning because that's all these teams are doing right now. I mean, if you look at the schedules left for these teams, okay? Toronto has a day off, and they host Minnesota this weekend. They're also going to Minnesota for 4 more next weekend. And the only games that are left for them, they have another road series with the Rays. So, another series just on the road this time next week. And then they're going to host the Yankees and the Orioles to finish up. Toronto is going to keep winning because that's all this team has been doing so far here in the month of September. They've only lost twice so far this month in the 10, 11, 12. In the, I think, 15 games that they've played this month, excuse me. That's impressive. September is a great time to get hot. And that's exactly what this young Toronto team's doing. And they've been hiding in the AL East because they've had to compete with the Rays, Yankees, and Red Sox all year. They've been hanging down in 4th place, but they've been staying at or above 10 games above 500 almost all year. And we talked about it. What a great young core they have with Vlad, Bo Bichette, Marcus Semion's on this team now, George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez. Now, sure, pitching hasn't been ideal in some aspects, but you have to be, happy with what Alek Manoah has been doing as of late. Hyun-Jin Ryu has definitely been a reliable arm for you most of the season. Steven Matz, he can be hit or miss. And, Robbie Ray actually has been doing really solid himself. So, yeah, sure, the rotation's not, it's not pretty at times, but this offense can score runs. And they're going to be a dangerous team if they can find their way into this wild card game. I do not want to play Toronto as a Yankees fan, that's for sure.
No, I want no part of Toronto.
And then
No part.
Right, and then of course you have the Red Sox on the other side of this. They have a bit of an easier schedule to finish, that's for sure. They're coming home from Seattle, have a day off tomorrow. They play Baltimore for 3 at home. They have another day off Monday, 2 with the Mets, then another day off. So that's 3 days off here for the Red Sox over the next 7 days. And then that all-important series with the Yankees up at Fenway, the 24th through the 26th, and then they head on the road to finish with Baltimore and Washington. So that's a much easier road for them compared to Toronto's schedule. And like I keep stressing, Kenny even mentioned it, Yankees finish on the road in Boston, on the road in Toronto, and then you come home to finish with Tampa. Now, by then, the division will be locked up. Unless something absolutely miraculous were able to happen. But it's not going to happen. The Rays have an 8-game stranglehold on the AL East right now. And if they do end up clinching this division, which they should, it'll probably be at some point middle to end of next week. But Yankees, this is what you got yourselves into. That was a fantastic winning streak. And they hit a wall. And it looked very grim. After that game on Sunday, started looking very grim. And even Monday, too, when Luis Gil gave up those back-to-back 2-run homers.
Yep.
Things were dark Monday afternoon at Yankee Stadium, Kenny.
My family was at that. I was supposed to be at that game.
That's right. You had rain day tickets to that. So, look.
I was happy. I was happy I didn't go, but good that my family saw a good game.
They hit the brick wall, but now they got a bulldozer, and they're trying to knock it down. That's what they're trying to do right now. There's really no other way to put it, I guess. So these are the building blocks. You got to wipe the floor here with Baltimore, and you got to enjoy your homestand with the Indians and Rangers as much as possible. And enjoy that homestand because that is going to be a brutal 9-game stretch. And Kenny, I'm going to call it right now. By the time we hit that 9-game stretch and the next week, everybody's still going to be tied in the wild card.
All right.
I think this is a 3-man race right now. It's literally the AL East wild card race. It's amazing.
Yep.
It's something crazy. I mean, for the first full season of baseball back in 2 years.
Yep. It's probably tied with the. I guess it would be tied with the NL West for arguably the best division in baseball.
Absolutely.
Even though the first place team is like 9 games up, but. Still a great division. I mean, you got 4 teams, trying to make the playoffs, or at least 3 teams are fighting with each other while the other one is, chilling up top.
And I just want to give a quick shout out here to our good friend and also sweet mate, Ethan McCabe. Okay? Speaking of the NL West, he told me today he is calling it right now that whichever team ends up in that wild card position, and right now it's going to be the Dodgers from the looks of things, 2.5 back in that division. He told me no matter who the opponent is for the Giants or the Dodgers in the wild card, whoever it is, they're going to lose. One and done. It's a hot take. We'll see if it comes true.
It's definitely
had to share his
possible.
prediction.
It's definitely possible. It is definitely possible. I definitely think it'd be more so for the Giants because, I mean, the Dodgers have, I mean, it's like a fantasy team. You got Kershaw, you got Scherzer, you got Walker Buehler. Any of those guys can start game one of a series. So you could trot one of those guys out for the wild card game, but then once you make it past that, you just trot out the other two guys for game 1 and 2. So they're better equipped for the wild card game as opposed to the Giants. Because, I mean, the Giants they have Gosman, DeSclafani's had a good year, Alex Wood. They got, what's his name, Logan Webb.
Yep.
So they have some good pitching. Guys are having renaissance of seasons. But I think in the grand scheme of things, the Dodgers would be better equipped in the wild card game as opposed to the Giants because of the pitching staff that they have at their disposal.
Definitely. That's a very fair argument to say that, for sure.
So, I guess with the last 15 minutes, let's go back to football.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And talk about the New York Giants. Okay. Wow. What can you take away from this game? Offensive line is still bad. Quarterback did not play that well. Defense kind of got torched a little bit. Saquon Barkley is not 100%. Not good. Not good at all. There were a couple of good moments. The touchdown to Shepard, the big long pass to Slayton. The fumble recovery by, I forget who it was. The Giants got a fumble recovery as the Broncos were driving at one point. Ben watched the game a lot more than I did. I was watching the Green Bay Packers just get destroyed.
Oh, and it was frustrating, I'll tell you that.
And it's weird because he had the computer right next to me, and I'm just paying attention to that and Cleveland, Kansas City, which that was a fantastic game. That was a fantastic game.
Yeah,
go Browns. Even though they didn't win, but go Browns. And also Mahomes is amazing, but that the Giants, I'm really worried now. I'm panicking because this quarterback still fumbles the football. Did it twice, right?
Yes.
Or just once?
No, once. Yeah, okay. Just once, yep.
But it was crucial. Is that a crucial point?
Giants, they were in the red zone.
They were in the red zone.
Yes.
Exactly. They were in the red zone. Also, they went for it on 4th and goal, and they didn't get that. So you cash in on those two drives, it's a different ball game. But they didn't. And, yeah, quarterback still has a turnover problem. Offensive line is still bad. And now, Shane Lemieux, one of their offensive linemen, I think he plays left guard. He plays one of the guard positions. Yes. He is, I think, expected to miss Thursday's game. So now you're another offensive lineman down, and you're going up against that defensive front with Chase Young and Sweat, Ioannidis. Yeah, that's a problem. I do think the Giants will win because they always beat Washington. But it worries me. It worries me. And the other thing is, Washington's quarterback got hurt. Fitzpatrick, hip injury, going to be out, placed on IR, going to be out for at least 6 to 8 weeks. I'm actually a little bit more worried about Taylor Heineke than I am if it was Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm a little bit more worried about that. Like I said, I still think the Giants will win that game, but I'm a little worried. This game, I think Denver's going to be a sneaky good team this year. I thought that was going to be them last year. It could be this is the year for them. I didn't have them making the playoffs, but they definitely could fight for one of those wild card spots.
For sure, there's really a lot of positives to take away, from their performance.
From their perspective, from the Giants, there's so many negatives. And Saquon Barkley is obviously not 100%. It's definitely going to take some time for him to get back into the swing of things and get his legs under him again, his confidence back. I like what I saw from Kenny Golladay. He had some incredible catches in the game on Sunday. Sterling Shepard had a really good game, and I recently traded him to you. You won that trade because Raheem Mostert. See you
Done
next
for the
year.
Yeah.
As my running back woes continue, anything I try to do, it makes my team worse. Kadarius Toney really didn't do anything. They tried to do some kind of tricky play, but he ended up getting stuffed in the backfield. Yeah, I mean, there really isn't a lot to take away. It's very concerning, though, that this offense still it looks like it did last year. And we can't, the Giants can't afford to have another one of those slow starts again. They can't. Got to get out and start well. And it looked like that on the touchdown with Shepard in the beginning. Then after that, things changed for the worst.
Yeah,
Turnovers. And on top of that, game could have been a lot worse if KJ Hamler doesn't drop that touchdown.
Oh, my goodness. That was
He
so
was
wide open.
Also,
Easily could have been a
quick fantasy
score.
advice. If you have KJ Hamler, I think he's a smart flex play for this week against Jacksonville.
Oh, I see you with the plug there.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I don't have him, but if you do, go ahead and start him because now with Jerry Jeudy being out, because that was a huge injury that happened in the game, he's going to get more targets. And going up against that Jacksonville defense, which was horrible, start him. Also, props to the Texans for getting a win because I didn't think that was happening.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm an avid listener the last couple of seasons to the Pick Six podcast from CBS Sports.
Oh,
when they were dishing out,
this kid loves that show.
It's a great pod. I like it. No, when they were doing their bold prediction show preseason, it was Ryan Wilson. Ryan Wilson said that he believed the Texans were going to get more wins than the Jaguars and Lions combined.
Okay.
I found that interesting.
So far, he's off to a good start.
Yep, that's exactly what he said.
But it's only week one, so.
Right. But yeah, no, Kenny, outside that 37-yard dart from Jones to Shepard, great footwork, too, from Shepard to stay in bounds. He almost went out. So who knows what would have happened from there.
Yeah, no, that was a great play.
Yeah, who knows what would have happened from there.
Yep.
But look, we can't beat around the bush anymore now with Daniel Jones, okay? This is his third season, and he is clearly underperforming still.
Yep.
And we saw really more of the same Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can't hold on to the ball to save his life.
Nope.
Now, yeah, sure, he actually didn't throw an interception for once. That was nice.
Yeah.
But he was inaccurate. He had no time because that O-line is just crumbling. They're all out of sorts, the Giants. You know, it's like that Led Zeppelin song, Dazed and Confused. That's exactly what this Giants offense looks like right now. It's a bad scene.
It's really bad.
You know, I've been saying, I said I give Daniel Jones until week 4. Okay? The Giants have Washington ahead on a short week tomorrow, of course, for Thursday night. Then you got the Falcons at home here in week 3. Then you go on the road to face the Saints. If Daniel Jones doesn't step up to the plate in one of these next games, this guy's gone. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's, week 8 and, maybe he'll start to find something. I think it's too late no matter what, if it gets to that point.
So are you saying that they should experiment with Mike Glennon?
Oh, no. No. Definitely not making that mistake again from last year. Good Lord. Can't believe I actually said Colt McCoy. And I guess it somewhat came to life because, look, he came into play. So, yeah. But it's the clock is ticking, and it's a short clock for Daniel Jones right now. He's on a short leash, according to me.
Well, if he's on a short leash, then Mike Glennon has to come in.
Well, I'm talking about keeping him beyond the season. Oh, the Giants are definitely not going to use Mike Glennon, Kenny. I said, maybe they should experiment with Colt McCoy. Yeah, so much for that. But Mike Glennon is definitely not going to make an appearance this year, unless Daniel Jones were somehow to go down. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But I'm telling you, You're telling me that this team is going to be able to compete with the Rams, Chiefs, and Bucks? Oh, not to mention, you have to face the Chiefs and the Bucks, who were the 2 Super Bowl teams, both Monday night games.
Yeah, that's...
Have a blast with that. Okay, and you know what? We haven't really mentioned it. The Giants' defense was actually decent on Sunday.
Yeah, it was. It just doesn't help when the offense can't do anything.
Right. And what is terrible yet again, the third down defense is awful.
Yeah.
That's the one area that they really need to work on.
And also, let's not forget the 4th and 1 play when the Broncos were in the red zone and they scored the touchdown to, I don't know, Ogunjobi, whatever his name was.
Yeah, that guy. I forget what it was, Yeah, that was a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, you said it. The Giants cannot afford another slow start. Look, I'm optimistic.
You know what?
I'm optimistic that they can win this game tomorrow in Washington.
And win next week.
Yes, against Atlanta.
Yep, I agree. I think they're going to win
There's a
tomorrow.
shot that this team can get right back to 2-1.
They have won 5 of the last 6 meetings against Washington.
Yep.
They don't lose to Washington.
They don't.
Okay, and listen, Washington's front 4 is really good.
Yep.
Secondary, that was a little bit of a problem in that Chargers game. So you know what? I think the Giants can exploit that. They have great success against this team. Now they're down a man at quarterback with Fitzpatrick. Like I said, I'm a little bit nervous with Heineke because he played pretty well against the Buccaneers in the playoffs. But I think the Giants will win tomorrow, and I think they win next week against the Falcons, and they go to 2-1, and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, exactly.
We're both on the same page with that.
Yeah, it's just all about working back.
And if they're not, well, then we got some issues.
Yeah, it's all about working back to 500 right now, and that's what the goal has to be tomorrow at Washington. Mm-hmm. It's a winnable game. It's likely going to be a low-scoring battle, and that you got to see if we can get out and win that game tomorrow. Now, like you said, Taylor Heineke, of course, started against the Bucs in that playoff appearance, but who knows what we'll see out of them tomorrow. Got to come ready for Washington. These short week games are tough, but the opportunity is there, and the Giants have to take advantage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't see anybody out in the waiting room, I guess I would call it. But just to be on the safe side, we're finally going to. Oh no, and Nestor Cortez just gave up a home run.
Solo shot, 2-1?
Come on. Yeah, solo shot. I have him in fantasy, which makes it even worse. He just needed one more out. Nothing pains me more than giving up runs with 2 outs. I hate it so much.
So it's a 2-1 ball game now, and that's 6th inning, correct?
Yeah, great. Yeah, that might be the end for Cortez. All right, so to be on the safe side, we're finally going to actually end before 9 o'clock because we always seem to end right at it.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week. I thank you for listening, sticking with us for these 2 hours. And yeah, like I said, we'll be back next week, talking some more stuff. Hopefully we'll be more positive about our teams at that point. But yeah, if you stuck with us a full 2 hours, we greatly appreciate it. So with that, I'm Kenneth Gruenfelder, signing off with my co-host, Ben Upson, from Infinite Sports Radio. Have a good night, and we will see you next time.